Have you ever wanted to plant David Austin roses? Have you planted David Austin roses? Have you wondered what is the difference between a bare root rose that you get in the springtime versus a potted rose? And I will be planting up 4 roses that I purchased and received yesterday in the mail from David Austin. My name's Michelle, and I am an avid gardener, a thrifter, and a home decor enthusiast. If those topics interest you, hit subscribe and follow me along this summer as we open up the doors to all kinds of garden and indoor projects and fun thrifting and plant hauls. So today we're talking about David Austin roses. I received mine yesterday in the mail. They came FedEx. I live in Illinois, Garden Zone 5B, and the first thing that you want to do is have some kind of bucket to put them in to soak. Now, David Austin recommends you let them soak for a minimum of 2 hours. Now, I have heard anywhere from 1 hour to 24 hours to let those roots rehydrate after shipping, because they are shipped dry. So they're not in any type of soil. Sometimes you'll get them a little moist. These were not. So those roots needed to be rehydrated. What I'll do is I will trim some of these off so they're more even, because that would be a lot of root to put down in the ground. And you may be wondering, what is the difference between a bare root rose and a potted rose? Well, there's 2 main things that I think that there is. There's more, but the 2 main ones is price, and the other thing is the age of the rose. So let's talk about price first. Number 1, normally a bare root rose will be less expensive than a potted rose, which makes perfect sense. They're sending this to you with no packaging, no dirt, no extra shipping costs if you're getting it in the mail, no extra labor for them to put it together and materials. So it's going to be less expensive. Number 2 is the age of the rose. Bare root roses are usually older than the potted roses that you would get. So David Austin says that their bare root roses are at least 2 years old. So they've had 2 planting seasons out in their test ground growing before they dig them up and ship them to you. So you're getting an older, more established rose. I got 2 climbing roses, Generous Gardener. Now they're for garden zones 4 through 11, and they get to 15 feet. So they are big climbers. So once you step into the backyard, there'll be the arch right there with those 2 beautiful roses climbing over it. Very fragrant. So I think that'll be a nice entrance into the backyard. So we'll get those planted up today. And then the 2 other roses that I purchased on this plant purchase were shrub roses, Scepter'd, and it is more of a medium pink, pale pink, open cup flower rose. And you're like, well, what is an open cup rose? It means that it's more open when and the picture will show you how the bloom of it is open so the bees can get in. This is a real bee attractor. So, and it will get 5 foot tall by 4 foot wide. So that is a pretty big shrub rose. I'm 5'9", so think about that. About 5 foot tall here and 4 foot wide. That's a pretty big rose. The other rose I picked up, Princess Alexandra of Kent, which is more like a dark pink fuchsia rose. Looks very, very pretty in the picture. And it's supposed to smell very good. And that's really important to me when I pick out my roses. I want a rose that repeat blooms in the season because I want to see it more than once. I want a rose that smells really, really fragrant. And I also want a rose that's hardy for my area. So tell me, have you purchased David Austin roses? And what is your favorite color? And what is your favorite rose? But let's get planting these today. And if you're enjoying this, please subscribe and like. Okay, so I'm out by the Kingsman Arbor that I told you about, and I'm starting to dig the hole for the first Generous Gardener David Austin Rose. So what I've done is, now eventually, as you can see, I've got some fabric down here. Eventually I'm going to have this covered up, and I'll have more landscape rocks that are up against the back of the house brought out to here. So it's a work in progress is what I'm telling you. So I've cut away where I want the rose, and I want the rose on this side of the arbor, down like in the middle. So I've started digging my hole, and I will continue making the hole dig deeper. Now, you know, when you order these roses online, they ship them to you when you should get them in your area. And I think about a week ago here, it was 70 degrees all week long. So very unseasonable for April for us. And I didn't get the roses then. I got the roses yesterday. And it just started snowing while I'm doing this. So go figure. But I want to get these in the ground. And it isn't supposed to be snowing today according to our weather. So I'm thinking that hopefully it'll stop soon, because I've got 3 more to go after this. So they recommend when you're planting your roses to do, now I'm saying recommend. I normally don't do that, but this is what they recommend. 16 inches around is your hole, and you go 16 inches deep. Normally, I think in the past, it seems I do around probably about 12 inches and maybe go a little bit more than 12 inches deep. What I do is, how I judge that, so we're going to get our first Generous Gardener rose. Look at those roots. So I'm going to be, these long ones that are hanging down, I want to even these up. So we're gonna, and this here got broke in shipping, this little piece here. So let's go ahead and clip that off too. There we go. So we're gonna even these up a little bit. Just give them a nice little haircut. Okay, so that looks good. The rose looks good. I'm gonna put a little bit of the biotone in. And they said a couple scoops of the compost. And this is the compost I purchased, the BioFloral, and I got this from my local nursery. So I have a cup, and I just take a couple cups worth in there and put it in. If you can see this, this kind of leans naturally back more this way than this way. So I'm going to plant it like this, so that it'll be closer to climb up there versus this where it would be farther away. Well, it's snowing harder now. It's almost like little hail. Real tiny. I think it is hailing now, guys. Okay, so that is all planted. So what we would want to do then is get that watered in. Once I get all 4 of them planted, then I'll take my hose around and water all of them. But in the meantime, I'm going to start on the other side and dig the hole to plant that one. And then we'll see if we can get the 2 shrub roses in. Okay, so this one I'm planting here by the deck, and this is the Princess Alexandra that I'm planting here that'll get 5 by 4, and as you can see our deck is pretty high, and I have 2 clematises. So I think this dark pink and the purple, the dark purple will look really pretty together. This will be really fragrant. Check out this other video about the latest plant haul that I went